So, Namaste, Ayush. Welcome to the class.
Namaste.
Namaste. So, today is the first time that I will introduce you to Osho's teachings through his own voice. Until now, for more than 15 or 16 classes, I have been recording Osho's quotes in a way which it is more like a meditation. You listen English, and I speak very slow, and behind me there is a piano, which creates a certain atmosphere of easy listening, no? So, but this is not Osho. This is Osho, but the original Osho is his own voice recording. And I think you are now mature enough to continue our class, not with my recordings, but directly with Osho's quotes or Osho's questions. So I don't know if you know, I told you already, but I repeat again, Osho never wrote a book. He is not the writer, even though I would say 95% of the population who knows Osho in the whole world think that he is an author. This is not true, because all his spoken talks and discourses has been transliterated in books. People think that he is a writer. And besides that, many of his books has been bestsellers in many countries of the world. So his book has been translated to more than 60 languages, and everybody somehow knows this Osho name that he took at the end of his life before he died. So his whole life, I think, he has three names. No? At the beginning, in India, he was Acharya Rajneesh. That is very traditional, no? Acharya means teacher, no? It is true? It means teacher. And,
Yeah, master.
and then when he settled in Pune and in Oregon, for many years, he was called Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, but simply Bhagwan. No? And at the end of his life, he took a Japanese word, Osho, which simply means oceanic, like oceanic. So, but today in the world, forever he will be Osho. It was his choice at the end of his life. But his spoken discourses come from different timings. And me, that I know perfectly well all his complete works, I have been listening to him for more than 30 years. So normally discourses which are not very good in quality of sound, they come from the 60s, you know. And the latest one, they have very good sound because it was in the 90s already. But anyway, I'm going to introduce you from now on direct Osho's talks, the way he spoke to his disciple live in Pune, America. He was traveling the world also. He was in Uruguay, in many countries. So there are different discourses that were recorded in different places. Basically India. So in this question, or this issue of today, for me is one of the most important teachings to be understood. Because the whole conflict of human being comes from that issue, which is the dual mind. And it is very difficult to understand what is the dual mind in real time. So when the mind is affecting you and you are in a movie, you cannot think at all if you are dual or not dual. You are just in a movie. You are lost. You are swallowed by emotions, by thoughts, by confusion. But Osho's teachings, listening to him, is a meditation in itself. So this quote that I have selected, it will be now our first meditation of the day. So if you like to listen to him in a meditative mood, like you put your room a little dark or whatsoever, no, or you put the blindfolds or whatever, but this is a meditation. Listening to his voice for 17 minutes, we will simply meditate, and then we will discuss and speak about what he wants to say about this issue of the dual mind, okay? So let's listen now to Osho. Probably this discourse is coming, I think, from Dhammapada in Pune 1, and here we listen to him.
Energy moves in a dual polarity. That is the only way it moves. There is no other way of its movement. It moves in a dual polarity. For any energy to become dynamic, the antipole is needed. It is just like electricity moving with negative and positive polarity. If there is only negative polarity, electricity will not happen. Or there is only positive polarity, electricity will not happen. Both the poles are needed. And when both the poles meet, they create electricity. Then the spark comes up. And this is so for all types of phenomena. Life goes on between man and woman. The polarity. The woman is the negative life energy. Man is the positive pole. They are electrical. Hence so much attraction. With man alone, life will disappear. With a woman alone, there can be no life, only death. Between man and woman, there exists a balance. Between man and woman, these two poles, these two banks, flows the river of life. Wherever you look, you will find the same energy moving into polarities, balancing itself. This polarity is very meaningful for meditation, because mind is logical and life is dialectical. When I say mind is logical, it means mind moves in a line. When I say life is dialectical, life moves with the opposite, not in a line, zigzag. From negative to positive, positive to negative, negative to positive, it moves zigzag. It uses the opposites. Mind moves in a line, simple straight line. It never moves to the opposite, it denies the opposite. It believes in one, and life believes in two. So whatsoever mind creates, it always chooses the one. If mind chooses silence, if mind has become fed up with all the noise that is created in life, then the mind thinks to be silent. It goes to the Himalayas. It wants to be silent. It doesn't want anything to do with any type of noise. Even the song of the birds will disturb. Breeze blowing through the trees will be a disturbance. The mind wants silence. Now it has chosen the line. Now the opposite has to be denied completely. But this man living in the Himalayas, seeking silence, avoiding the other, the opposite, he will become dead. He will become certainly dull. And he will be more dull, more he chooses to be silent. Because life needs the opposite, the challenge of the opposite. There is a different type of silence which exists between two opposites. This is a dead silence, the silence of the symmetry. A dead man is silent, but you would not like to be a dead man. A dead man is absolutely silent, nobody can disturb him. His concentration is perfect. You cannot do anything to distract his mind. His mind is absolutely fixed. Even if all around the whole world goes mad, he will remain in his concentration. But still you will not like to be a dead man's silence, concentration, whatsoever it is called. You will not like to be dead. Because if you are silent when dead, the silence is meaningless. Silence must happen while you are absolutely alive, vital, bubbling with life and energy. Then silence is meaningful. But then silence will have a different, altogether different quality to it. It will not be dull. It will be alive. It will be a subtle balance between two polarities. Then such type of man who is seeking a live balance, a live silence, would like to move to the market and to the Himalayas both. He would like to go to the market to enjoy nice. And he would like to go to the Himalayas also to enjoy silence. And he will create a balance between these two polar opposites. And he will remain in that balance. And that balance cannot be achieved through linear efforts. That is what is meant by Zen technique of effortless effort. It uses contradictory terms. Effortless effort, or gateless gate, or pathless path. Zen always uses the contradictory term immediately, just to give you the hint that the process is going to be dialectical, not linear. The opposite is not to be denied but absorbed. The opposite has not to be left aside. It has to be used. Left aside, it will always be a burden on you. Left aside, it will hang with you. Unused, you will miss much. The energy can be converted and used. And then, using it, you will be more vital, more live. The opposite has to be absorbed. Then the process becomes dialectical. Effortlessness means not doing anything. Inactivity, akarma. Effort means doing much activity, karma. Both has to be there. Do much, but don't be a doer. Then you achieve both. Move in the world, but don't be a part of it. Live in the world, but don't let the world live in you. Then the contradictory has been absorbed. Then you are not rejecting anything, not denying anything. A balance has to be achieved. And balance can be achieved only when you use both the polarities. If you use one, you become dead. Many have done that. Even whole societies have become that. This has happened to India. If you choose one, unbalance, lopsidedness happens. It happened in India, in East, that the silent part, the still point was chosen and the active part denied. So the whole East became dull. The sharpness was lost. The sharpness of intelligence, the sharpness of body vigor, everything was lost. The East became more and more dull, ugly. As if life became just a burden, to be carried somehow and dropped. A duty to be fulfilled, a karma to be suffered, not an enjoyment, not a vigorous dance, but a dull, a lethargic movement. And it had its consequences. The East became weak, because with the still point, you cannot remain strong forever, for long. Because strength needs activity. Strength needs movement. If you deny activity, strength disappears. East lost its muscles completely. The body became flabby. So anybody who desired to conquer could conquer East. For thousands of years, slavery was the only destiny for the East. Anybody who had just an idea to make anybody a slave would turn towards the East. East was always ready to be conquered. Because the Eastern mind had chosen a point against the polar opposite. East became silent but dead and dull also. Thus, this type of silence is not work. The opposite is happening in the West. It has happened in other societies also. They have chosen the active part, the periphery, and they think that there is no soul, only this activity is all. And to be active, and to enjoy, and to achieve, and to be ambitious and to conquer is all that life consists of. The ultimate result is going to be more and more madness in the West. Because without that still point, you cannot remain sane. You will become insane. Only with the still point, you cannot remain alive, you become dead. Only with the active, you become insane. People who are insane, what has happened to them? They have lost all contact with their still point. That's what their insanity is. West is turning into a big madhouse. Don't be afraid of contradicting yourself. Contradict. Be both. And move easily. And when I say this, I say it unconditionally. Not only activity, inactivity. Whatsoever is called bad and good, that too is included. Whatsoever is called the devil and the divine, that too is included. Always remember, everywhere there are banks, and if you want to be a river, use both the banks, unconditionally. And don't say because I was active, how I can be inactive. And don't say because I was inactive now, how I can be active. And don't say that I am this, so how I can be that. You are both. And there is no need to choose. The only thing to remember is to be balanced between the two. Then you will transcend both. Then the devil and the divine will both be transcended. When both are transcended, that is Brahma. Brahma has no polarity against him, because he is just a balance between two polarities. There is no antipole to it. Move in life as freely as possible and use both the opposites, both the banks, as much as possible. Don't create any contradiction. They are not contradictory. They only appear to be contradictory. Deep down they are one. They are just like my legs, right and left. You use the right, you use the left. While you raise the right, the left is waiting on the earth, helping. And don't become addicted. Don't be a rightist or a leftist. Both legs are yours. And both the legs, your energy flows undivided. Have you ever felt the right leg has some other energy and the left leg some other energy? You are flowing in both. Close the eyes, left disappears, right disappears. They are both you. And while moving, you can use them. Use both. If you become addicted with the right, as many people have become addicted, then you will be crippled. You cannot use the left. Then you can stint. You will be crippled, and by you will become dead. Move and constantly remember the unmoving center. Do and constantly remember the undoer. Make effort and remain effortless. Once you know this secret alchemy of using the opposite, the contradictory, you are free. Otherwise, you create inner imprisonments. Once you know that between the opposites, balance is possible. Once you have a glimpse of it, then you know the art. Then everywhere in life, in every dimension of life, you can attain that balance very easily. Really, to say that you can attain is not good. Once you know the knack of it, whatsoever you do, the balance follows you like a shadow. This inner balance between the opposites is the most significant thing that can happen to a man. Enough?
Okay. This is the first discourse that I played in Mero Sadhana directly on Osho's voice. I think from now on we will quote him directly. And this issue is really very, very, very deep, because not only the whole misery of man comes from this misunderstanding of what is the duality in life, and also the dual mind. And at the same time, the transcendence of duality is enlightenment. So on the other hand, this quote have both. It speaks about the misery of man, and also speak about the divine space of transcending duality. So I suggest you to listen this discourse often, because I don't know, if you are studying mathematics or physics or something, and the professor on the board is maybe developing a problem, a mathematical problem. Maybe you need to think about, you need to see it back and forth to understand more and more. I think Osho's teachings have the same, the same hidden treasures, no, in his talking. So it is like even today, after 34 years of listening to him, I don't know how many times I have listened this one, but each time somehow I understand a little more, and start collecting this kind of discourses that will be following our class, because there's a lot to talk. So before I start maybe sharing my own perception, I would like to ask you, what is the impact of listening to this 17 minutes of spiritual teaching on dual mind?
Yeah, I think I immediately remembered also my state, but also what I immediately thought was, what is the pattern of the east and west? He also mentioned, right, that thing really in present also we are seeing that east and west having this pattern, and I think that is where we are at right now. So yeah, that is and also like when I think about my thing, I think I understand the theoretical part. In my case is like I understand the duality, but again there is whole 29 years of conditioning, and I think that to get out of that is quite difficult. So theoretically I think this thing I might have understood in the past as well, but yeah, practicalizing it is quite difficult, I think.
Okay, good. So can you close the microphone? There are people there, no, making noise. No?
Yeah. Sorry.
So maybe by developing the issue, bringing those words to our life of our situations, you will understand deeper and deeper the content of the quote, okay, of the teaching. So actually, this teaching is also concerning Tantra. Tantra is the science of the inner that works with yin and yang, with the feminine and masculine energy. So all in life is dual. All in life is full of Tantra. There is a daytime, which the sun is there. There's a moon, which covers the night. No? There is life, there is death. No? There is a man, there is a woman. So if you observe all around you, you will find Tantra. I call it Tantra because Tantra is normally a concept that immediately comes with this kind of sexual therapy of juicy people hugging and making love. No, the deep meaning of Tantra is concerning the two energies inside you. For example, if you see the human body, we have a right hand, a left hand, so it's dual. We have two lungs, we have two legs, and even the brain has two hemispheres. And the latest discoveries in psychology, they have seen that the left brain is concerning with the rational mind. You know, mathematics, physics, male energy, you know, efficiency, working, producing. And the right hemisphere of the mind, it is concerning with art, poetry, religion, improvisation, intuition, totally the opposites. So the real tantra, it is concerning, it is in a spiritual process that works inside you. So and the fusion between these two energies inside you brings you to what the master have called liberation, moksha, enlightenment, etc. No. The thing is that you cannot, as a practitioner of meditation, you cannot start directly with the inner tantra. It is impossible. But you have to observe first what is the outer tantra, and also practice in the outside with the opposite energy. So if you are born as a man, you need the woman to grow. It is impossible the man alone can grow. I mean, he can grow in age, he can grow high, thick, or wherever, but as growth is concerned, as a spiritual growth or psychological growth even, it is impossible that a celibate monk or a freak of Indian or Nepali spirituality who refuse the opposite sex can grow at all. It doesn't matter if he is in the Himalayas the whole life meditating or doing very, very strong austerities and disciplines. So this teaching of Osho is very, very clear. So if the universe works with the opposite, for example, if the electricity, masculine and positive, create energy, and you can warm yourself in a heater in winter, or the same energy you can create AC in summer, or the diffusion between men and woman become life. So a baby is born just because the two polar opposites are fusioning. So the whole life outside us is a total mirror that life is, like Osho says, life is dialectical, so between two. But the mind by itself is linear. So the mind always will believe in only one side. And this is the problem, especially in spirituality, that normally people think that spirituality is you renounce the world, you renounce the family, and you renounce Western comfort, and you go to an ashram somewhere and you start working beautifully, I don't know, agriculture or whatever, no? But this kind of activity, if you don't have a girlfriend, if you don't move with the opposites, somehow it doesn't matter how long, how many years you may do yoga, you may do transcendental meditation, whatever, somehow, according to the Osho's teaching, spiritual growth is impossible. And this is my experience. That is why Osho's disciple, we have this total priority that to be able one day to be alone. Alone means not celibate in a sense that you force to yourself to be celibate or refusing sex. But to be alone simply means that to be good alone, to be into the space of aloneness, So to be alone has become a positive space where you feel not afraid to be alone. Totally the contrary that loneliness. Loneliness is like you are totally depending on the other. No, this space of loneliness cannot be reached just by a wish, a mental wish. And your mind will say, okay, I want to be alone, I want to be happy alone, and because a relationship in the past brought me a lot of problems, I cut off, and from now on, I just take care of the cow, of the fields, of my guru, etc. And 1 year passed, 2 years passed, 10 years passed, 20 years passed, and for 20, 30 years, you are not encountering your own opposite. And that is why in the path of Osho's disciple, there is a first period of total indulgence in sex, in relationship, just to experience the opposites to the maximum so that we can get bored as soon as possible. So that makes sense now a little more. Ayus?
Yeah. You mentioned tantra thing, right? The balance, and also to get to the actual alone part, we need to be together for some time to get that experience as well. You mentioned indulgence period as well.
Well, concerning indulgence, is just a path, a spiritual path of Tantra, but the deep meaning of Tantra is not indulgence. The real meaning of Tantra is through indulgence, you reach aloneness. You transcend, you know, nothing can be transcended if you don't possess it before. And this is one of the biggest contradictions of a spiritual search. So Osho was talking about West and East, no? So in the West, it is well known that Western people, we are cuckoo, no? Working, money. They deny the inner, they deny the soul. You know, science, all these crazy things with the New World Order and blah, blah, blah. Man takes himself as God, no? So the science, we know everything. We can create life in the, you know, like in this kind of fiction movies, no? So this is the West, total madness, no? But when you come to the East, you find a different kind of madness too. It's a better madness because it's more quiet. The feminine energy is dreamy, is always thinking about the holy, the high, whatever. But they don't take care of the material down. So both are in extremes. So the real Tantra, it is concerned with you, if you are born a man, you have to become a man and a woman simultaneously inside you. So your two hemispheres have to function in total harmony. And normally this does not happen because mind by its natural functioning is linear. So the mind will choose only one. For example, observing people, you can see immediately who is a male type of mind or who is a female type of mind. Okay? For example, the society, unfortunately, the Western society, the globalism, you know, the globalization has become almost 90% of the whole planet has become male, material, you know, money, consumism. But the female mind in India and Nepal concerning religion denies the male energy. So the most of the time, these kind of yogis, monks, sadhus, they declare themselves celibate. They don't touch money. They just beg, no? And Osho comes with a teaching of bringing all this to the garbage. The West is an extreme that creates madness, suffering, and the East is an extreme that creates a different kind of suffering. If I have to choose, I always choose the East because it is like a more romantic, no? It is like a more soft, whatever. But the real Tantra is to be in the middle, to take the best qualities of the West inside you. That means that you understand that you are efficient, disciplined, constant. You enjoy work. You produce. You create. You produce money. You produce, and the best qualities of the East, of the Yin energy. You can drop the West immediately and become silent, meditative, holy if you want. But these two spaces are wavering on your own will. When you need to be male because you go to the marketplace to work, you let the meditator at home. You let the monk at home. Yeah, but when you go out of the office, you go to the forest and you throw your computer and you just melt with the trees, with the birds, and you become poetical. You become feminine, you become receptive, you become a meditator. But this, spoken like this, it sounds very, very easy, it sounds beautiful, no? But practical wise, is very, very, very difficult. And I see it here, as we talk a lot in Mero Sadhana in the last month with Pranita and with Naveen and Fungoti, for example,
Myself.
with you also, in the ashram here, it's very, very beautiful. I love it very, very, very much. So it is amazing good, but somehow there is a little refusal. It's like they refuse the male energy, not just on the level of sexuality, because sexuality is taboo, sexuality is not necessary, sexuality is a burden, sexuality is a loss of energy, all these kind of things, no? But actually, that deep down get manifested also that the ashram is poor. They don't have vision for business. They don't. They have a creativity to make a cow shelter, to make a field of rice, to create a cafe field, whatever. They have this male energy to produce agriculture and things like that, yes. But deep down, if you don't open sexually to the opposite, deep down something remains stuck. So here in the ashram is like the money don't flow, the money don't come. They are always on the survival level. We have enough money to pay the bill of electricity, gas, and finish. There is not this abundance of comfort, luxury, which is Osho's teaching. Osho's teaching is both together, no? So when you go to, for example, in the West, Osho's community, you feel that the Osho Center, wherever, in Germany, in Spain, in France, is rich, very rich. And at the same time, when you go inside a program of meditation, it's immensely deep in yin energy too. There is a lot of sensitivity, but both together, because this is the clear message of Osho as a master. Never deny your opposite, because basically concerning relationship, not just men, women, but if you observe also your friendships you have with even men and men, the opposite keep working too. You may be a very female type of man, and you may have amazing friendship with the opposite type of man who is very masculine. And this creates an attraction, not sexually because you are both men and you are not homosexual, but friendship, good friendship, basically it is based also in attraction of opposites. And for example, all my girlfriends in the past, they were very, very strong male type, very strong businesswoman who have a lot of power in society to make money. Why? Because at that time I was a Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, always flying, no, in my yin energy, no, composing music, composing poems. In the night I could not sleep, and I will write poems and cry, you know. Very beautiful spaces of yin, but incomplete. It is like a bird, you know, a 99% female type of mind, India, Nepal, is like a bird who has the yin wing of an eagle, very strong, very powerful, but the right wing of a penguin. So actually, that eagle or that person, he may brag, look at my left wing, so powerful, I'm an eagle. Yeah, great man, but fuck, you cannot fly. You cannot fly because the other wing is required in the same proportion of length of power. So if your right wing, you have never taken care of your male energy, fucking, making love with a woman, with a man, with the opposite, working, creating money, enjoying money the same way that you enjoy devotion. Okay, so exactly with the same reverence, appreciation, respect, admiration, a yin person may have to the master, he should have to the bank. The same. And this sounds a little bit hard to say, but it is like this. You respect money exactly the same that you respect meditation. Because both are two different wings of one being who is you. Then if you develop the right wing and you give a space and that wing grows in length like the left wing, then you are an eagle. And that flying represents that your life has harmony. Your life has beauty in the material, so you are not poor. You have money. Maybe you don't want to be rich. No need to be rich. No need to be millionaire. But you enjoy abundance. Okay, I like guitar. No, so my guitar costs 10,000 euros. You know, 100 lakh, or 120 lakh. My other guitar, 8,000 euros. I enjoy music. I have the best speaker I ever have. But I don't have a Mercedes. I don't need to have a car. But this kind of this luxus is spirituality. And at the same time, you go into the meditation hall and you empty yourself and you touch the feet of the master. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Osho. Both together. And at the same time, you go to visit your lover in the night and you fuck like a rabbit the whole life, the whole night. And you are there sexually excited and enjoying sex, and all that is spirituality. All that. All together. And this is the meaning of this amazing quote, the dual mind. Why? Because if you deny the opposite, which is everybody is doing that. In the West, they deny the steel point. They deny the female energy, the inner woman. So that's why the West is suffering. Schizophrenia, psychology, people, insomnia, problems, just problems. Here in the East, less problems. Maybe the people sleep better, but look at Kathmandu, look at Nepal. It's a total disaster. It's poor. The female energy alone don't control the material. Hate the material. Refuse the material. That's why the streets are so chaotic. There is no planning. Everything is dirty, dusty, in disorder. This is the mirror of the society West and East. What is meditation for Osho? Neither West, neither East. Neither America, California, neither Kathmandu. The best of California and the best of Nepal. The best quality, all the best qualities of both inside you in harmony. This is Tantra. And normally when you get that space inside you, out of the blue, you say, well, I am alone for 1 month, 1 year, 2 years. You say, fuck, I am a celibate maybe? You have reached to that space of celibacy not by imposing you a certain spiritual teaching as an obligation, but you have reached the transcendence because you know it, you have it. You have so many girlfriends, you have experienced sex, you have experienced, and then you say, okay, it is good, I enjoy, but there is something that gives me more transcendence. Because if I have a girlfriend and I have good moment with her, when she's not there, the moment disappears. So the soul is always searching for there is something more, there is more peace. So somehow the relationship with the opposite, it is good to learn, to grow, but in a certain moment also, when you have inside you both parts melting, you don't need it in the outside. And then you become and somehow not repress, you don't repress, but out of your own choice, you say, I'm so good alone that I don't want to enter a relationship maybe for a few years. Then love happen again and you move in relationship, but you are not a celibate who is imposing onto you a certain kind of religious commandment. You are open only if the quality of love is there. If there is no love, I don't want sex. Because sex is something like I can do meditation and I feel more fulfilled that if the sexual relationship will bring jealousy, movies, fight and things like that, you know. So do you understand now the importance of the word Tantra?
Yeah, the balance of the opposites. And since we should try to explore the relationship to be together so that we learn how to be alone as well. Because when we are not together, I think even consciously, I might not think about, I might think like, I'm okay, but unconsciously, I think something inside me is like seeking for that, and it is kind of trying hard, right? And the energy is going being wasted that way. I think that way, because consciously, most of the people which are not having this exploration, let's say, I think consciously they will say like, yeah, no, I'm not worried about these things, but unconsciously, like, they see all of the people around, the like 90% of the song is about love and so on, and I think unconsciously it is there, right? And unless that, I think the repression is cleared away, we cannot really transcend from that, I think.
Well, for example, in your case, here in Nepal, or the group Mero Sadhana, Pranita, Naveen, and I was always trying to push you to move into relationship, because the conditioning here is very, very liberal attitudes. No, it's like the family, the tradition, the arranged marriage, the parents controls a lot the life of Nepali. So normal Nepali, exceptions some daring Nepali in Tamil who are a little bit Western style, but the common Nepali, they see life more like okay, when I get married, my sexual life will start. No. So if you get married at 29 or 30, you have lost 30 years of fun. It's such a loss. No? It's so stupid, no? And then you only will experience sex with only one person for your whole life, no? Which is very boring, no? So sex, if you see sex as a sensual pleasure of the senses, what is the difference between having a very beautiful sexual relationship with a beautiful woman or man with going to a 5-star hotel and having an amazing dinner made by the chef? So people accept to have pleasure in the tongue by gourmet. No, you go to Italian restaurant and you enjoy spaghetti al dente, carbonara, blah blah blah. No, or you go to Spanish restaurant, paella, and you enjoy that. But sex is also an enjoyment of the human being. And you can see sex also not to put it so high, like I need to love the woman, I need to marry with her forever. Not, sometimes you feel, I like this woman, it's sensual, it's beautiful, but love is not happening. But the sexual energy is available, is strong, you are young, you should experience. You should move into that experience to know life. And if you move into that experience 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, when you find love, you will see the difference. You say, wow, the quality of love makes sex higher. Because with that woman, which I only have sex, after the sex, there is an emptiness. I don't feel nothing for her. I want to go home. It's like the same feeling that you are in a good restaurant, no? Before you order the menu, you are hungry, no? When you have finished the eating, you want to leave the restaurant. You don't want to stay in the restaurant, no? So, but this is, you can accept that as food is concerned. Why you don't accept that also as sex is concerned? That is opening of mind. That is Osho. So don't feel ashamed, don't feel guilty to have a sexual friendship with a person with whom you only fuck. You know, you only make love, and you are good friends. And you say, well, I like you, I don't love you, but we have so much beautiful time together. You are 20, you are 25, enjoy, experience. One day you will find a person will open your heart, and you will feel, wow, this person understands me. I trust her. There are another qualities that will come, and then this is love. But love is not what you see here in the Nepali or Wubilon movies, like dancing and marrying. You know, these beautiful customs, married, the guys with 30 years old, 25, they are married, and they don't have experience at all. So this is also Tantra in its preliminary status. But the higher levels of Tantra is what I told you, that you understand that, wow, inside me, I have all the qualities that my girlfriend has. Before I met her, the qualities were dormant. These qualities were not available, actualizing me. Thanks to the relationship, thanks to the sex, thanks to the love, something gets perspired, transmitted to the other, and then I am still the same. I have my qualities that I was born with, but something new is coming thanks to that meeting. This is another level high of Tantra. And the highest level of Tantra is when you say to your partner, thank you. We have been together for 10 years, whatever. I feel so good alone that I want to go now to Australia for a few years. I don't know if our relationship can keep in the distance. And the woman will not be hurt because she also has the same state of consciousness. You say, okay, I also feel so good alone that I want to be alone, and maybe both separated friendly, and he is in another country with no relationship. She is in that country with no relationship because both have transcended sex, but not by repressing, by having it. And the qualities of love will always remain. You will love always that person. You may even live the whole life with her, happy, but only because love happened. But sex is the beginning. So if you don't start with sex, you are dreaming. You are dreaming. And that's why I always pointing out that here in the ashram, that I understand that the culture is different. I understand that yoga may do something. Maybe yes, maybe I am wrong, and yoga will help them to transcend all these energies. But I don't see it. I see people with fear, with a lot of fear, after 20 years of practicing yoga and things like that. You know, either you repress the sex, either you are afraid of it. So the fear always somehow will mirror that something has not been digested and understood. That is why even yesterday I was talking with you, and I'm always somehow pushing you guys to drop the computer for a few hours and just go chasing a woman to the forest, wherever they are. No? But why you Nepali have this block towards the opposite? Where comes this conditioning in this culture?
Well, number one, I think it is the topic of sex itself. And the other one, getting into relationship is, I think it is also, it is mostly the conditioning part. Too obedient in male, and both male and female as well.
What do you mean, obedient to your parents? If your parents don't agree with the person, you feel guilty?
Yeah. In the depth, maybe that, but ultimately the mind is already conditioned in that way, and we are always looking out for the one, right? The
Oh.
one, I mean like the one, there will be only one, like, so waiting for the perfect one.
The choosing one who will be your wife and the mother of your kids forever, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is not coming from your own choice. You didn't choose that. It is like coming from the social conditioning, family conditioning, religious conditioning, right?
Yeah.
So
But I am also getting off that kind of, because like I think I am up to a level at least. Like you had suggested me to go into dating apps, right? And I always was thinking like, okay, that sounds weird, and I never tried it. I never went that path. There is some reluctancy from within. Maybe it is due to conditioning, maybe it is due to my thinking, but I always was pushing that back. But when you told something a bit, in a bit circular way, let's say, a bit different way, you said like, why don't you talk to the tourists that come around? You said, right? And I think,
yes.
okay, and that way I thought like, okay, that sounds interesting. Maybe I should try that one. I thought.
No, there are many ways to connect
Yeah.
with. But you are a man. No, I talk now. There are many ways to connect with a woman. No, so for example, for Western people, normally it is not difficult because the conditioning is not so strong, no, against that. So me myself, I am 64. When I was 15, I remember the age because in Spain, when you are 15 years old, all the parents, they say, you are now in the little beautiful girl time. They say girl, no? Even though you are a man, that year it is called el año de la niña bonita, no? The year of the beautiful girl. And I remember that time, and I was so haughty, and I like girls so much, but there was this kind of fear. The girls didn't allow it, and I want to touch her, and she will hit me, and things like that. At the end, I just say, fuck, I go with a prostitute. And I faced the fear. No, I was feeling so much afraid, but I went to the street of prostitute in my town. So beautiful women, I was 15, they were 25, 30, and they really enjoy me as a little boy coming to them, like the women have also this kind of fantasy. This guy is 15 and it's like I was vierge, somehow. But I really experienced that a few times, and I didn't like, because it's not good if you just pay for sex. Energy-wise, the energy is not beautiful.
Intimacy.
Yeah, there is no intimacy, You just pay, finish, and go, It feels a little bit dirty, But I experienced, and I did 2 or 3 times, and I say, no. And then I search for relationship and blah, 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 And in the West, it's very easy. Here, in your case, I don't suggest you to go to prostitute, no. These kind of applications where you can meet people who maybe wants to meet each other, okay, but maybe it is good for you to encounter clubs of people who do trekking, where men and women get together. Especially what will be very good for you is to have a girlfriend who is not Nepali, a foreigner, who will enrich your vision. The same way that you, Nepali, will enrich her Western vision in that mixing. Osho was always in favor of couples of different cultures. They say you cannot learn anything with a Spanish woman. You are Spanish. So, and it is true. All my girlfriends were German, Japanese, Chinese. And it's like your consciousness expand by the daily sharing with a different person who has nothing to do with your own culture.
The tantric balance, the opposite.
So I still encourage you to find where there are Western people here, not especially Tamil, because Tamil is a very, I don't like the energy of this neighborhood, but people who come to, like to do helping the kids. There is a lot of volunteer people who comes to help Nepal, save the children, and people who comes to help the country, American women, Japanese, Chinese, this kind of volunteer people who comes in a flux to help Nepal. That is a beautiful space, and already there's a filter. These people have a beautiful heart. They come to help the children, to help the poor, And this is maybe a way to you to inquire where to find this kind of groups of people, you understand?
Yeah.
And don't stay home because a woman will not knock at your door and say, hey, I want to be with you.
Yeah.
You have to chase, you have to go and chase.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm considering.
Sorry, continue.
I'm considering to do that.
If I know something, I will inform you, because I know few friends here who have orphans, who are helping kids. And if I know about that, I will direct you to some kind of places where you may just, maybe you have to cooperate, if they are working there. In Boda, for example, there are neighborhoods. I don't suggest you Tamil, because Tamil is just this kind of tourist who wants to smoke ganja, drink good, eat good, and then this kind of light night is not enriching. But Boda is a beautiful neighborhood who brings a lot of foreigners, and all these foreigners are basically Buddhist. And they are Buddhist practitioners, and they come there to stay 6 months, 1 year, learning in a monastery, in Kopan monastery with a lama. No? So when I go to Kopan and I go to Fulhari monasteries, I see plenty of foreigners who are staying in Nepal for 1 year doing Buddhist studies. Beautiful women, American, English, French, And this is the space you should visit, to make friends with people who come to Nepal not to smoke ganja in Tamil, but to be spiritual, to do Buddhist studies or to help the kids, So I invite you to explore Bodhanath. Bodhanath is full, it's very rich in people, in foreigners.
I'll give it a shot. So.
Maybe one day we go together and we go dinner, and I show you, because I was living in Bodha for 3 years, and I know very well the neighborhood, and I know the hotels, the pension, and maybe one day we'll go there and have a good dinner. And next time, maybe we do that, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's go to our second part of the class, which is the practice. Let's do meditation.